For NYUpInSyracuse.com, I am Matt Parrino, and I'm coming to you from Gillette Stadium, almost 1 year to the day. Week 16, the Bills played here last year in a 24-12 loss. This game was a lot more competitive, and there's no moral victories. This Bills team has said it over and over again as they've kind of ascended the AFC this season. But in the end, not enough to take down the New England Patriots 24-17 inside this building. Another loss. That's 16-0 now for Tom Brady against the Bills at Gillette Stadium in games that he started and finished. And it's disappointing, but I'm going to start with where I wrote a post-game column about it. Josh Allen. I was pretty critical of him early on. It felt like he felt lost out there early on. Things weren't going well. I've maintained going back to going back to training camp, and in the spring. He is a rhythm-based player. When you get him into a rhythm, that's when he becomes the most effective. And we saw that in the second half, but early on, 3 of 8 passing for 19 yards after the first 29 minutes. And it looked like, it was more of the same from Allen. You go back to the earlier game this season against New England where he was struggling. But the big difference is, even in those moments of struggle, no turnovers. Guys, we're talking about a completely different player than we were back in September when Josh Allen threw 3 interceptions against this same Patriots team. Today, 2 touchdowns, 208 yards passing, no interceptions. And that's the biggest stat that I really want to talk about, because I don't think that most people thought this was possible, this kind of efficiency. The New England Patriots are allowing 13 points a game this season. Josh Allen orchestrated 3 scoring drives, 2 touchdowns, and let's talk about those touchdown passes. They were special. First of all, the one to John Brown, who beats former Bills cornerback Stephon Gilmore. Explosive, big play. It was the long ball we've been waiting for. I tweeted, I thought it was the most unbelievable, eye-popping throw that Josh Allen has made since that Jacksonville touchdown to Robert Foster all the way back in his rookie season. He stood in the pocket, he took the hit, he knew he was going to take one, and he delivered a beautiful ball to John Brown, who now has the 14th best receiving season in Buffalo Bills history. What a signing for Brandon Beane. This guy is just getting it done in all areas of the game, and obviously just 1 catch today, but it was a big one for 53 yards. And when you're going up against Gilmore, he hasn't given up a touchdown all season. We'll see how they credit that. It might have been zone coverage. There's a little bit of back and forth about that, but Josh Allen makes a big play there to take the lead in the third quarter, and this stuff's encouraging. And you go back to the first half, 29 minutes of less than stellar play by this entire offense. And I thought that Josh Allen poised, stayed composed. He talked about it after the game. He felt those jitters again, and it's something that he's going to continue to try to deal with and try to figure out how to be better earlier in games and get those completions going. Part of that responsibility is on Brian Daboll, Sean McDermott, to get him into a rhythm. But I thought that everything came together. A big pass to Dawson Knox, end of the first half, where you're probably sitting there as a Bills fan just hoping the Bills can maybe get 3 points before halftime, get it to 10-6 going into the locker room. But Josh Allen delivers a ball. It was a 33-yard, beautifully placed ball to Dawson Knox that was a touchdown, ruled a touchdown at first, but then they reviewed it. He was short, right short of the goal line. But next play, or next sequence, they get the ball to Deion Dawkins, who reported as eligible. Another big play for the left tackle, and they were off to the races. And you saw coming out halftime, executing on offense. Devin Singletary, he was good again today. Listen, this is a tough Patriots defense that isn't giving up a lot of yardage. Obviously, Cincinnati went for 165 on the ground last week. Frank Gore went over 100 the first time around, but New England did their homework. They studied what the Bills have been doing. They really got physical with that offensive front. And, I think the offensive line for the Bills show that there's still growth opportunities for it as a whole. I think that they've played really good in spots this year. But 4 sacks against Josh Allen today, and just the inability to break free any big runs, even in between the tackles. It looked like Devin Singletary always fighting and trying to, get through hits and break tackles, and he does a good job of it. I mean, there was a few plays where you just kind of, your jaw goes down a little bit, and you're like, wow, how did he get out of that? And all of a sudden, what looked like a negative 1 yard loss turns into a 7 yard gain. And a lot of people have made a lot about his ability to fall forward and get those extra yards, and credit to him, he does a good job at that. Not enough today from a rushing perspective to get the job done, but I thought that Josh Allen in the passing game overcame some things against one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary in the NFL. And it should be noted, Jason McCourty went out with a groin injury. Probably had an impact. Definitely had an impact for the Bills. But Stephon Gilmore, all-pro, Pro Bowler, guy that is getting all the hype around the league, and rightfully so. That's pretty good work to do what they did. And going into this game, one of the big storylines was Jonathan Jones. There's nickel corner who did a really good job on Cole Beasley in the first time around. Not so much today for the Patriots defense. 100+ yards for Cole Beasley. Really impactful in that intermediate zone where Josh Allen and Cole Beasley have really developed a chemistry. So I think all things being considered, you have to be happy with what this offense was able to go on the road and do for a second straight week, and particularly against this Patriots defense. Flip it over to the defensive side of the football, and it's kind of you shrug your shoulders down. And I was talking about it with a few folks in the press box during and after the game, and it's almost like when you get what you need from the offense, the defense can't really get the job done, and vice versa. It never seems like both sides of the ball are playing at that high level at the same time. You go back to the Cleveland game where I really thought that the defense played well. Again, gave up 140 or more rushing yards. When the Bills have given up 145 yards or more rushing this season, they are now 0-3. So that's something to keep in mind. The first matchup against the Patriots, 74 yards rushing for New England. They won the game, but they did a good job against the run. Today, not so good. Over 140 yards, like I mentioned. Sony Michel, his season high of 96 yards on the ground. And, Lorenzo Alexander talked about it after the game. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. You have to execute. You have to tackle. The Bills didn't do a great job of that today. And so they're not concerned. One of the good things is, going back to early in the season, against Philadelphia when they gave up 200+, when they gave up a lot against Cleveland, when they got gouged a little bit even by Washington to a lesser degree in that first half by Adrian Peterson, they made corrections. And, Jordan Poyer, Lorenzo Alexander, very confident that they can go back to the drawing board and figure things out. They're going to have to figure things out quickly. And, this is the type of thing where, a team has success. And, of course, it's Tom Brady, and it's the gadgets, and it's the reverses and the screenplays. But teams are going to get this on film and try to attack this Bills defense that has done such a good job this season as a whole. And, they gave up 270 yards to Tom Brady in this passing offense that has been struggling going into the game. So there's some areas there to fix. I thought that Taron Johnson really struggled early on. Everybody that was on Julian Edelman today really struggled. He went out with a head injury, came back into the game, dealing with a shoulder issue and a knee issue, and he still comes out here and gets the job done. And that's just what you're going up against this Patriots team. I mean, 11 straight AFC East titles. They have been this good for this long for a reason. And I think what the Bills did today is prove that, hey, maybe they're not there yet, but they're knocking on the door. This was a really exciting game. I talked to a couple Patriots reporters after the game, and they said, man, this was fun. It was fun to have a competitive game in the balance in the fourth quarter type of atmosphere with the division on the line. I mean, even if the Bills won this game, New England here again next week against Miami, the likelihood that the Bills were going to win the division, even if they won this game, it wasn't very high. But to come in here on the road, there's no moral victories, like they said, but we're in a different spot now, than we were going into the season, and our expectations for this team. This is an AFC playoff team. They're locked into that number 5 seed, and they match up really, really well with the Houston Texans, who have a really good offense. But if you remember back to last year, this Bills defense did pretty good against Deshaun Watson and company. And against that defense, you figure that Josh Allen and this offense might be able to get some things done. So much to cover as we move now 2 weeks from right now. we will either have just had a playoff game if it's on Saturday, or we'll be planning for a Sunday playoff game. But either way, 2 playoff appearances in 3 seasons now for Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane. Great stuff, guys. I hope you are enjoying it. You deserve it. What a fan base. And what a team that you finally have an exciting one. And for all your Bills content, as always, keep it locked on NY Up. Syracuse.com will be hitting it hard next week as the Bills prepare for the Jets. We'll see if they play some starters. They rest their starters. I would imagine you'll get, all you Duke Williams fans will get your wish and get some Duke Williams action against the Jets. So we'll have you covered all week long. NYUpSyracuse.com. Keep it locked on, and we'll see you soon.